So this is a part of, do you want that opportunity? And now we're saying, oh, no, guys, it's okay. You can shoot it now. And people will reference Jokic and his percentage is like, well, now his percentage is 39.
Yeah, my son was telling me about that, yeah.
What his percentage is.
Yeah.
Like,
guys do, though. Players do.
It's people who do not shoot the ball at the end of a quarter. Every point matters. If you make it, it's going to help you win. But what does everybody do?
They jump up in the air. They wait till they hear the buzzer, and then they release the ball. Right? To save the percentages. I was guilty of that at times.
Yeah, that's bullshit, Bubs. That is bullshit.
RJ Bell has some harsh words for Mark Cuban and Kendrick Perkins. He blasted both of them for defending a new NBA rule, calling it a symbol of the league's softening under Commissioner Adam Silver. Bell argues that protecting players from statistical consequences only weakens the competition, reflecting a growing trend in the NBA where entertainment and pace take precedence over grit and toughness. Ironically, Cuban, who has been a fierce critic of what he sees as the NBA's move toward softness, seems to support this rule, calling it a smart evolution for the game. This, of course, is the same Cuban who voted against the 2016 Hack-a-Shaq foul rules, famously saying, "Rewarding incompetence is never a good business strategy." So, what's the real impact of this change? And is it a step forward or a sign of the NBA losing its edge? Let's dive into it.
Pump fake, jump,
free throws.
Right? Shooting too many free throws. Now you're complaining they're shooting too many threes. Start talking to basketball players. If we take this away from you, what are you gonna do? And let them give you the answer. Versus a bunch of referees who never played the game at a high level sitting there saying, well, you know, they sit here doing this and pump faking and doing this and trying to get the foul.
The rule changes are having a much bigger impact on the game than anyone could have anticipated. These decisions aren't coming from the players, the referees, or even the teams themselves. The NBA's decision makers, the league officials, team owners, and the commissioner are the ones calling the shots. And now, with this latest rule, things are starting to spiral out of control. What was once about the players and the competition has shifted, and we're seeing a league that's increasingly focused on maximizing entertainment value, sometimes at the expense of what made the game great in the first place. Mark Cuban, the minority owner of the Dallas Mavericks, has recently voiced strong support for a new NBA rule change that's aimed at encouraging more long-range shots, particularly those wild heaves at the end of quarters. Under this new rule, missed heaves from beyond half court in the first 3 quarters won't count against a player's field goal percentage. On the surface, it seems like a harmless tweak, one designed to incentivize players to take those high-risk, low-reward shots without the fear of it negatively impacting their stats.
No, I get your point, Richard, I get your point, right? No balls, no babies, right? You got to be able to throw that thing.
I'm mad there was a pause before everyone got it.
I knew I had to wait for that to sink in, right?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
You said ball, it took me someplace else.
The goal? More exciting buzzer beaters and an increased willingness for players to take these deep attempts. It's a move that also aligns with the growing fan obsession with players like Nikola Jokic, who has become a star not just for his playmaking, but also for his fearless deep shots, regardless of their efficiency. But while this may seem like an attempt to keep the game fresh and entertaining, it opens up a whole new set of questions about the direction the NBA is headed. Gilbert Arenas didn't hold back either, jumping into the conversation with his own take on the new rule. He warned that the game could be thrown off balance as players, eager to boost their stats, start launching shots from center court just to pad their numbers. Arenas mocked the potential fallout, predicting that this could lead to teams averaging an absurd 140 points per game. His point? Instead of elevating the quality of play, the rule might just encourage players to focus on high-risk shots for the sake of their stats, turning the game into a spectacle rather than a true competition.
Well, then you probably have players that want the contact.
Yes.
The only way you're going to get that 3 is...
And ones.
Yeah.
So now I'm driving, I'm going back to my mid-range. Now I go from, now I start averaging with this talent 140 points a game.
Man, its scoring goes way up.
RJ Bell raised another valid concern, pointing out that this rule could become a major issue in close games. He argued that it essentially gives players a license to kill in crunch time, allowing them to take wild, low-percentage shots without any real consequence on their stats. Bell emphasized how this could shift the dynamics of intense, high-stakes moments, giving players more leeway to make reckless decisions, potentially undermining the integrity of close contests. It's a rule that could disrupt the strategy and tension that typically define these critical moments on the court.
When I see people doing it in close games that aren't G League players, going into halftime to finish a quarter, you're trying to end the third quarter. You're not having the fringe guys. When we talk about guys not shooting it in the postseason.
No, you're right. No, I used to hate it. I used to get so pissed off, right?
Mark Cuban, however, stood firm in his defense of the rule, reiterating that despite the concerns raised, fans absolutely love the excitement it brings. He acknowledged the potential drawbacks, but insisted that the league's focus is on what will keep fans engaged. Cuban argued that the spectacle and entertainment value outweigh the strategic concerns, and as things stand, the voices of fans seem to be winning out over any objections from players. In his view, players don't stand a chance against the decisions being made by the league's authorities, who are clearly prioritizing fan enjoyment over traditional basketball dynamics.
Those guys now at least will take the shot, and that's better for the fans, that's better for the game, that's better for everything, right? So those guys that, don't have, aren't going to take that shot, at least now it's, they have no excuse.
Okay, so should technical free throws count against your percentage also?
Yeah, because there's nobody guarding.
On the other side of the debate, Isaiah Thomas weighed in with a broader perspective, pointing out that the NBA has always adjusted its rules to support the game's iconic players. He highlighted how, during his era, the league made changes to protect stars like Michael Jordan, ensuring he could continue to dominate without undue interference. Thomas argued that these adjustments were designed to safeguard the legacies of the game's biggest names, and he sees this new rule as just another example of the NBA tweaking things to benefit its marquee players. In his view, the league has a long history of making rule changes that prioritize star power, ensuring that the icons of the game remain at the center of the action.
It's people who do not shoot the ball at the end of a quarter. Every point matters. If you make it, it's gonna help you win. But what does everybody do?
They jump up in the air, they wait till they hear the buzzer, and then they release the ball. Right. To save the percentages. I was guilty of that at times.
Yeah, that's bullshit, Bubs. That is bullshit.
Many players, however, aren't buying into the rule changes, with some outright calling them bullshit. They argue that the new regulations have little to do with improving the actual game, and everything to do with manipulating players' stats. Some players are voicing concerns that the rule will lead to players intentionally staying in the air, waiting for the buzzer to sound just so they can preserve their stats. This, they say, undermines the integrity of the game, shifting focus away from true competition and team strategy, and turning the sport into a stat padding contest.
The problem you had was baiting foul. Trying to sit here, pump fake, he jump,
free throws.
Right? Shooting too many free throws. Now you're complaining they're shooting too many threes. Start talking to basketball players. If we take this away from you, what are you gonna do? And let them give you the answer. Versus a bunch of referees who never played the game at a high level.
In conclusion, RJ Bell and other critics believe this rule change marks a significant misstep for the NBA. Bell, in particular, argues that the league is prioritizing entertainment and stat manipulation over the traditional elements that made basketball great: competition, grit, and toughness. He views the rule as part of a broader trend under Commissioner Adam Silver's leadership, where the integrity of the game is sacrificed to appeal to a fan base more focused on spectacle than substance. For Bell, this shift is a symbol of the NBA softening. Gilbert Arenas also joined the chorus of criticism, mocking the rule by predicting that players would start taking wild shots from half court to pad their stats, leading to unrealistic point totals and a loss of balance in the game. He warned that this would shift the NBA into more of a spectacle, with players focused on personal achievements rather than the integrity of the game. Many players themselves have echoed this frustration, calling the rule bullshit, and claiming it will turn critical moments in the game into meaningless stat-heading exercises. The fear is that players will now hang in the air waiting for the buzzer to avoid a negative impact on their field goal percentages, undermining the competitive spirit of close games. Ultimately, while Mark Cuban and others defend the rule as a step toward more fan-friendly basketball, the overwhelming sentiment from critics is that it will only dilute the game's true essence. For many, this rule change is a bust, one that may not have the desired impact on the NBA's future, but rather disrupt what made the game so compelling in the first place. What do you think about this rule change? Is the NBA really headed in the right direction by prioritizing entertainment and stats over traditional competition? Do you agree with RJ Bell's view that the league is softening, or do you think these changes will bring fresh excitement to the game? Are we in danger of losing the integrity of close games and strategic play? Should players be allowed to chase stats, or should they focus on what truly matters, winning? Let us know your thoughts. Does this rule enhance the game, or are we witnessing the start of its downfall?